Ladies and gentlemen, come in and have a seat. We are ready to start. Just everyone come in, have a seat. The innovators are ready to start to show their innovations. Okay. So, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's such a great pleasure to be here at Google's headquarters in San Francisco. I'm Regina, and I'm leading the acceleration programs for the WFP Innovation Accelerator based in Munich. And I have the honor to be tonight's master of ceremony. And I need my clicker, I just realized. I don't have the magic. Good. No, so what you're experiencing tonight is something very special. It's the result of a fantastic collaboration between Google.org, Google for Startups, WFP USA, and the WFP Innovation Accelerator. This joint collaboration, we have set up an acceleration program, the WFP Humanitarian Ventures Accelerator, where for 6 months we have supported 10 different innovations, internal WFP teams, which really have harnessed the cutting-edge technology from Google. So it's something very, very special that you are experiencing tonight. And I also don't want to say too much, because we have some marvelous guests who are welcoming us and give a little bit more background. And I'm very happy to welcome the first speaker on stage, which is Leslie Ye. She's the Director of Research of Google.org. Leslie, the stage is yours. Thank you.
Thanks, Regina. Hi, everyone. I am so thrilled
Came
to
for
join.
the same.
Oh, can everyone hear me? Oh, now I hear myself. Okay, I'll start again. Hi, everyone. I'm so thrilled to be joining tonight to celebrate the work of these 10 WFP teams that received grant funding and pro bono support from Google over the past 6 months. I'd like to thank Patty Urich and Noah Havazelet from Google's Accelerator team for all the work they've done behind the scenes to support WFP's Accelerator program and tonight's fantastic event. I'd also like to thank Bernard Kovich, Hila Cohen, Regina Schmidt, and all the other WFP members who have been working so tirelessly over the past several months. Google.org's support for WFP dates back to 2009, which includes providing resources to help those impacted by crises, improving the ability to forecast extreme weather events in order to enable earlier action, and ongoing work to help stem food insecurity. I think our team has been particularly excited to support WFP's Accelerator program, bringing together funding support from Google.org and pro bono mentorship and expertise from Google's Accelerator team. I think we continue to see the numbers of people facing acute food insecurity rise, and we see the need for responsibly using AI and advanced technology to address global food insecurity. Can I have next? So our team has been investing in bold and responsible AI innovation since 2018. And we've learned that leveraging AI and advanced technology responsibly, plus Google.org's pro bono support, it helps grantees achieve their aims and their goals in 1/3 of the time at 1/2 the cost. And so we're really excited to see tonight how the 10 projects have already accelerated their work over the past 6 months, especially with their focus on emergency cash-based transfers, supply chain, and management services. And of course, we look forward to the progress they'll continue to make as they launch into the next phase of their work. I just want to thank you all for being here, sharing your work, and learning about this new innovative approach to accelerating progress together. Pass it back to you, Regina.
Okay. Thank you very much, Leslie. It was very inspiring. And we are so thankful for all the support that Google.org has given. It's a long-lasting partner of WFP and has given particularly now during the last 6 months. And we have a second speaker from Google, and I'm very happy to welcome Timothy Jordan. He's the Director of Developer Research and Open Source. Timothy, also the stage is now yours. You like to?
Thank you. Hello, everyone. So, hi, I'm Timothy. I run some developer relations teams here at Google, and that includes platform DevRel teams such as Firebase DevRel or Gemini DevRel. That includes open source, and that includes ecosystem. And it's a lot of people doing a lot of different things. But the one thing that really binds them all together, the one thing that they're really passionate about, is understanding their customers and helping them be impactful, whatever their mission is. And with the Accelerator program, that's all about accelerating startups and organizations with the best of Google technology, best practices, and people. Now, the WFP Humanitarian Ventures Accelerator, it's a bit of a mouthful, as Leslie mentioned earlier, emerged from years of collaboration between Google and the WFP Innovation Accelerator. With the evolving technological landscape that we're seeing, particularly with AI, we saw a unique opportunity right now to work together. Google's expertise in building and scaling technology for millions could be harnessed in new and unique ways to support impactful projects for fighting world hunger. Now, over the past 6 months, each of the projects you're going to hear about today, all aimed at addressing world hunger, was paired with a dedicated technical manager here at Google and had access to 90 mentors. Now, these were Googlers and industry experts alike in over 65 hours of mentoring, upskilling sessions, and tailored support for each of the ventures. Together, they tackled unique challenges such as being able to use accurate and accessible data for effective emergency response, or accessing remote areas based on data analysis and predictions. Now, they worked collaboratively to introduce unique solutions powered by AI and the latest technology, getting not only support through their Google technical managers, but through other teams such as Google Maps, Analytics, and Google DeepMind. Now, I'd like to talk about just a couple of the projects. You're going to hear more about them later, but at least one of them I want to mention is Geotar. And this is all about geographic vulnerability analysis for WFP operations, using satellite and drone data for cheaper and high precision tracking. Now, this helps the WFP identify areas needing assistance, often otherwise facing biases from outdated data. Now, through this program, Geotar shifted away from the laptop to a cloud-based solution. And this enables knowledge sharing and scalability across the WFP, allowing them to cut down on reaction response time drastically. Geotar presents a potential cost savings, and I want to get these numbers right, of $300,000 per country office and a 30% increase in targeting accuracy. It's okay, you can clap. That's really cool. Somebody could scroll these notes for me. It's old technology on this screen, or not, that's fine. Oh, there it is, great. This other one that I want to mention was UN Booking Hub. Now, UN AI Mobility is working on developing a smart mission planning tool with real-time travel options for humanitarians, including flights, accommodation, and mobility services. And I think this is a really interesting one that I wanted to call out as well, because often this is an invisible problem. It's not one that you would think about solving, but the network effect of getting humanitarians to the right place at the right time faster and more efficiently is potentially huge. Now, through the accelerator, the team worked closely to define and implement an AI solution to optimize these humanitarians' mission planning and travel resources, cutting down on planning time, accelerating emergency response, and optimizing the utilization of travel resources. And each one of these things has an important impact on the eventual and ultimate mission, which is the last thing that I want to say is thank you on behalf of myself and my team, but also on Google for allowing us to partner with all of you on what I think is just such an important and sacred mission of fighting world hunger. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Thank you, Uppsala. Thank you very much, Timothy. Now, it's interesting to hear his insights about how we really could use technology in order to advance in emergency preparedness and response. You will hear in more detail in a couple of minutes on what each of the teams has achieved, but it's tremendous the impact which had been created. Okay, now I'm happy to welcome the third speaker, and this is Bernhard Kowert. He's the head of the WFP Innovation Accelerator. Bernhard.
Thank you. I got one. Oh, I hope I got one. So thank you very much. So it's my great pleasure, and we couldn't be here without the great support. I mean, Leslie and Timothy already introduced you. So but I just want to give a big shout out to Google Accelerator, Google.org. Let's give a big hands to the team Google here. And we are here, and you made reference to this because acute hunger is actually rising, and this is the sad part of that, right? Where is right now estimated 309 million acutely hungry people on the planet, which is more than double than the pre-COVID number, which is this should be disconcerting for all of us, that the situation in the world is as bad, and it's because of conflict, climate change, inflation, rising costs. And, these are the types of topics that should be really bothering us. Now, which at the same time makes the solutions, innovation, technology so much more important, and why I'm so happy that we can actually do this program here together, right? Now, what is interesting about this, innovation is more important. How do we solve it? Well, Google Accelerator, great, so we work together. But I also want to acknowledge all of the other partners that are actually here with us today. So it's, we are here, so it's the US government, USAID, the German government, John Deere, other partners of the World Food Program, Luxembourg, so anybody that I have forgotten, I'm apologizing, and we're gonna catch up on the other names that I'm not mentioning that are on this slide, but I didn't mention. But what is important is we couldn't do the work without any of you, right? Essentially, the work is about, on the one hand, partners, but also the innovators. And can things actually go to scale? This is where the innovations come in. Yes, they can. And just to give you a little glimpse, this year we're running actually a total of 20 different social impact accelerator programs with about 10 innovations or startup each. Now, the impact last year of all of these innovations are 60 million people that have been reached through those innovations. Could be cash transfers that are more effective, could be smaller farmers whose income has been increased through that. And they also raised $295 million of grant funding, not counting equity investments. Now, you may say, well, but this is fairly abstract. We heard from Timothy about Geotar. Now, what are these types of innovations? Now, funnily enough, it's actually almost 10 years ago. So my co-founder and I at the time, we actually started something that's called Share the Meal. A couple of miles from here, in Plug and Play Tech Center, we were actually doing our first pitch event. And at the time, it was a crazy idea. We had a prototype, we had first prototypes. But just to say, this has now gone and reached 230 million shared meals already, so over $160 million. Well, thank you. And just from a crazy idea that somebody had, when you're seeing all those pitches, the innovators, the ventures on stage, each of them has the potential to transform the humanitarian system as we know it. Now, just take this in, all those innovators, maybe they're right now not that big yet. But the yet part is important, right? So because they could be transformative. Maybe it's not that exact innovation, but a variant of that or a scaled version of that. And I think that's the thing that we have to keep in the back of our heads for why we're doing this, right? Now, all of you pay attention to the pictures, everybody online, also enjoy, comment, engage with us on social media, on X, on LinkedIn, whether it's TikTok, Instagram, go for it. I dare you to do TikTok videos while the pitch is running. I'm not sure if anybody will do that, but go for it. Enjoy the show. It's going to be amazing experiences that you will see, not because it's shiny toys, but it's because it changes the lives of actual people that are hungry right now. So with that, back to you, Regina. Thank you very much.
No, I mean, it's definitely, I think there's a need for innovation. The situation with regard to food insecurity is dramatic, but we see there's a potential and the power of innovation. So what are you going to expect now? We're starting with the first part of the pitches, the first 5 pitches. Then we have an interactive Q&A session. So if you have any question, that's the moment where you can bring it in. Then we have a fireside chat with 2 distinguished guests. The second part of the pitches, and once again, a Q&A session. And now, how does it work? Every pitcher has exactly 3 minutes, so it's short, sharp, a quick fire. They are going to show you the solution and highlighting what is their impact. And then afterwards, we have all together the pitches, a Q&A session of 5 minutes. And now I think we are ready to start. Are you ready? Yes. Nah, that's good. Let's get started. And I'm very happy to welcome the first pitcher, who is Camilla Byrne from the venture Darts. Camilla, the stage is yours.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. I'm very excited to be here because today I want to share with you the story of Kisimba. One night, Kisimba heard the sound of gunfire in the Democratic Republic of Congo. She knew her only option was to grab her children and flee. After being displaced, she was able to build back her life with the support of cash transfers from WFP. She has now the power to choose which products to buy and where. But what happens if one day she doesn't receive her transfer? What if the bank is blocking her account? People like Kisimba rely on delicate financial systems in areas with inadequate local infrastructure. It is the staff on the ground that manually verify, one by one, that each transfer was successful. But it shouldn't be this hard. I'm Camila. I'm a data scientist at WFP, and I'm here to talk about DARTS, the Data Assurance and Reconciliation Tool Simplified, which is a web application that addresses many of these challenges at scale. Imagine for a moment how banks operate in Syria and Ethiopia. Do you think they do it in similar ways? Are IDs in Honduras and Ghana the same? Unfortunately, no. All of these countries are different, and they're almost impossible to standardize. Almost. With DARTS, we're leading innovation by adapting to any existing data. Colleagues on the ground receive data from different partners and use DARTS to make sense out of it. They can easily compare and merge these data frames. They can automatically detect anomalies, duplicates, and validate that the people like Kisimba receive their assistance. Last year alone, we transferred $2.9 billion of assistance to 57 million people in 76 countries. Imagine the diversity of context that we are analyzing. It is now more important than ever that we provide solutions that are easy to deploy and guarantee the donors' funds reach the right people. Today, DARTS is used in over 10 countries. For each year that these countries are using DARTS, we're saving 6 years of manual work. Now, thanks to Google, we are ready to scale to more countries. We're planning 20 countries in the following 6 months. Google helped us with data architecture, infrastructure advisory, and concrete UX improvements that makes DARTS easy to use in any context. Now, we are aware that it's not just WFP, but there's also governments, NGOs, and other UN agencies that can benefit from this. DARTS should be used in any context to validate that people receive the assistance. We are looking for $1 million USD funding to make DARTS available in any humanitarian operation within 2 years. So the field staff can spend more time in giving assistance instead of spending time in manual data processes. So families like Kisimba can get the right amount at the right time. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Camilla. This was a great start. WFP is giving assistance in 2 different modalities. On the one hand, we have in-kind distribution and we have cash-based transfer. In-kind means we give wheat, maize, bread, But cash, if possible, we really try to give cash to the people if the local infrastructure is still working, because we would like to strengthen the local ecosystems, the retailers, the wholesalers, the distributors. So it's very important, and you've heard the figures, 2.9 billion, which we have disbursed last year. So it's super important that we really get the right people with the right amount of money at the right amount of time. And now we're coming to the next one. I'm very glad to welcome Florian Grenouillot, who is the leader of Road the Meals. Florian, over to you.
Thank you. So, good evening, everyone. My name is Florian, and tonight I'll introduce you to Wood the Mills. For Wood the Mills, everything started in the Caribbean, in a beautiful country where we have green mountains and beautiful beaches, and we dance everywhere. But it's also a country where gangs control 80% of the capital, and where access to food can be a daily challenge. This country is Haiti. And when I joined WFP there in 2022, Haiti was facing a major crisis leading to a complete freeze of the country. The roads were blocked, the fuel was scarce, and it took us almost 2 months to reach the schools for the cycle of distributions. We then had to reorganize our logistics, and with my data background, I started developing optimization tools for the country office. And believe me, in a context like Haiti, the mathematical part was the easy part. The harder part came from understanding the daily challenges from the drivers, the warehouse managers, or the school directors. And so with this information, we've been able to define a new way of working on the supply chain network, and we identified a new warehouse to open in order to better cover the demand, reduce the cost, and the risk of shortfalls. Then we worked on the last mile. So with the drivers and the other partners, we developed a new optimization tools to better plan our distributions and reduce the lead times, the cost, but also the CO2 emissions of our trucks. With all this work, we've been able to alleviate most of the challenges in Haiti. In particular, our deliveries were faster, and we reduced the cost by $400,000. With these savings, we were able to buy more meals, enough to cover an additional 10,000 kids for an entire school year. And so Haiti, for Wood the Mills, it worked well in Haiti, but not only in Haiti. Many countries face similar challenges for logistics. And so during the past 6 months, we've been able to assist 5 additional countries in Latin America, Africa, and Asia. And Google has been central in this fast scale-up. Firstly, it helped us to dedicate time and resources to the project in order to validate the need for WFP to have an optimization tools for logistics. And secondly, the expertise from Google mentors also deeply helped us for the user journey, the project management, or the technical development. For the upcoming future, we really believe that Wood the Mills can make a difference and become a tool that anyone can use for the logistics optimization. And so tonight, we are looking for software partners to help us reach this goal. Additionally, in the coming year, we would like to support 10 new operations and reach 15 million beneficiaries. And so tonight, we expect $500,000 to help us reach this goal. And so anyway, as you probably know, logistics is really hard in our humanitarian world. And so tonight, I really hope that you're going to join us in this journey toward a world without hunger, a truck at a time, a family at a time, a meal at a time. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Florian. The mandate of WFP is to reach zero hunger and end malnutrition. Many people don't know that we are the biggest provider of school meals. There are many countries, the school meal is the only nutritious meal that pupils get. So it's super important to have tools like Road the Meals, mathematical modeling, in order to find the best way, the most efficient way in the remote areas to deliver those foods. So that's very, very important. Yeah, and now we have heard already about Geotar, and I'm very happy to welcome Karim Sadek, who is the Senior Targeting Analyst. Karim, over to you.
Thanks so much. Thank you. Okay, good evening, everyone. My name is Karim. I work for WFP headquarters as a targeting officer. I'm here today to talk about Geotar, our groundbreaking solution to improve targeting in WFP, which is a hot topic these days. Okay, so targeting is the process of selecting areas or regions for assistance. This selection, in order to make it accurate, we need to have a solid source of evidence to tell us where to go, where are the most vulnerable people. This evidence usually comes from household surveys that require intensive access to the field to collect this data. The problem we often have is we can be in a situation where such access to the field is not possible due to security limitations or other reasons. In these circumstances, geographic targeting could be biased to an extent that we might be assisting people who don't need assistance, and as a result, missing out on the people who are actually in need for this assistance. To solve this solution, we invented Geotar, a geospatial vulnerability mapping system that collects data on climate change, agricultural production, access to services, and conflict, and many other data sources. And then we use machine learning methods to analyze and digest these indicators and to build one index that we use to design a very granular vulnerability maps to inform the geographic targeting decisions. Let me give you an example. So earlier, actually last month in Chad, we used Geotar to inform the geographic targeting of the Lean Season Assistance Program, which is a program designed by WFP Chad Country Office to help the people of Chad to mitigate the impact of drought. That assistance program is helping 1 million beneficiaries. Earlier this year, Geotar was also used in Afghanistan to inform the geographic prioritization of our general food assistance program there, which is impacting the lives of 6 million people in Afghanistan. The map that you see on the left side is the standard output of Geotar analysis, very granular map on the village level that is impossible to generate with the usual assessments. Thanks to the support we had from Google, we managed to migrate our analytical pipelines from our computer to the cloud, which helped us to scale and provide that level of granularity to 6 more country offices. Our strategy and ambition for Geotar is to design a user-friendly solution that will be integrated into WFP technology ecosystem, will be made available to all our country offices, that any average officer can use it without the need to have a special training in machine learning or geospatial methods. To get there, we need to invest $1 million over the next 2 years to design the system and integrate it into WFP technology ecosystem. And also we would benefit from technical support to advance our analytical approaches to analyze high resolution satellite and drone imagery at scale. If you have any questions about Geotar, if you would like to offer help, please come and see me in the marketplace. Thanks for listening and thanks for coming.
Thank you very much, Karim. Very well done. Our WFP colleagues on the ground, they are responsible to identify those people who are most in need for assistance. And in the past, it was very classical, traditional ways thought to do inefficient, costly, time-consuming. And when they came first with the idea about let's use satellite data, drones, AI, machine, nobody was believing in the idea. And then they were coming in this small island in Munich and were trying and piloting and did the first test and it worked. And they grown and did other tests. And I'm so proud to see now, they were in Afghanistan in a hard duty station, 6 million people reached. Really could take advantage from the, and this is the nice thing, you can start small, you learn fast, you iterate, you pivot, and then you scale. Now that's amazing. And the next amazing project I'm happy to introduce is from Teresa Viola, and she's going to speak about Prisma.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Teresa, and I am thrilled to be here today to tell you about the project that I've dedicated the last 10 months of my life to, Prisma. So I'm actually relatively new to WFP, and in fact, at this time last year, I was still working in the private sector in supply chain, and I thought that I knew what the word complexity meant. But the truth is that I had no idea. Humanitarian supply chains are on a whole other level. They operate in hostile and volatile contexts, and the mission is of the utmost criticality. When our supply chains fail, a company doesn't lose a sale. Hungry people don't eat. So our mission is vitally important, but also extremely challenging. In supply chain, data drives the best decisions, but in the humanitarian context, reliable data is often not available, leaving people on the front lines in a super difficult position. They have to act fast, but they don't have all of the information that they need. And this is a crucial shortcoming, as I saw for myself when I was in Pakistan just a few weeks ago, and where every day women and children arrive at our facilities to collect nutritious food. If we can't find a way to make data-driven supply chain decisions, they'll walk away empty-handed. This is why we developed Prisma. Prisma is a supply chain planning solution created by a scrappy team of in-house developers and analysts. We took off our technical hats and went out into the field and observed for ourselves the impact of a lack of data. Trucks being routed and rerouted, racking up cost, food about to expire in warehouses because there was really no way to know where it should go ahead of time. But we also saw that we had the skills to help, and for the next year, we threw ourselves into the task of delivering our supply chain teams with the reliable data that they needed to make better decisions and save more lives. And we have seen phenomenal success. One of the first countries that we operated in was Sudan, and a year ago, when the country was ripped apart by conflict, the staff was able to use Prisma to keep food moving to the communities and refugee camps that had no other options. And the staff have told us time and again that thanks to Prisma, WFP lost less money and lost less food. When we spend less money and lose less food, more people eat. And we're not just operating in Sudan. Today, Prisma is being used in 13 countries where it is the critical tool for decision making. So that means it's time to go bigger. With the technical and financial support of Google over the past 6 months, we identified key process and product improvements that Prisma needed in order to bring it to scale. With those critical improvements now in place, we have ambitious plans to scale Prisma to encompass 90% of WFP's operations by the end of 2025. But we still need a little bit of help to make that happen, specifically financial support. We anticipate that with $1 million, we can support the key staff, operations, and technology necessary to succeed in our scale-up phase. We want Prisma, with its proven success, to be the go-to supply chain planning tool for all of the World Food Program by the end of next year. With your support, we can use even more data to make even better decisions and save even more lives. On behalf of the entire Prisma team, thank you so much, and I look forward to meeting all of you at the marketplace this evening. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Teresa. There are a couple of consumer goods companies here in the room, and it's quite interesting because, as you were saying, as you think a consumer goods company, they have a portfolio, they have market launches, they have seasonality, but in comparison, the supply chain of a humanitarian actor is really demanding. It's volatile, it's unpredictable. We don't know where the next disaster hits. Where's the next military conflict? You really have to adapt and be very fast. So projects like Prisma, which optimize on a country level, are super important in order really to bring the aid that is needed. And now we have also heard about the UN AI Smart Mission Plan, and I'm happy to welcome Gail Chan to present the project.
So I think Timothy from Google earlier summed up my presentation very, very clearly. So my job is done here. But actually, I still have a question for you all. Today, what would you do with $10 million? Let's think about it for a second. Now I'll tell you what WFP will do. We'll use it to feed millions of people currently in hunger emergency. To fight against hunger, we need people on the ground to deliver the assistance, especially in the first hours, are crucial to saving lives. As we know, though, public funding is shrinking while humanitarian crisis is rapidly increasing. Where can we even find $10 million? Well, we already have. The United Nations Booking Hub, which is the booking.com for humanitarian, allows humanitarian workers to book a UN-provided service such as flights, accommodation, and drivers in more than 100 countries. Without it, it's very hard for aid workers to go to Ukraine or Sudan to deliver the food, to deliver assistance, when commercial services are not even available. We make mission planning more cost efficient and has already helped WFP to save $10 million a year in operational cost. But with the surging humanitarian demands and the funding cut, we need to move people even faster. We need to scale up quick. So in just 2 months' time, we team up with Google to create a smart mission planner which uses AI to provide humanitarians with the quickest and smartest itinerary for their mission. Yes, it's smart, because the AI engine generates the shortest route instantly to reduce planning time and to accelerate rapid response. Machine learning model that we use optimizes travel resources to double down on operational cost saving. And it is scalable. It is ready to scale up across the UN network and globally. Thanks to Google's expertise in AI, the Smart Mission Planner will help humanitarian organizations to double down on their operational cost savings so that they can use it to help twice as many people to get out of hunger emergency. We innovated, we partnered, and now we need your help. We are looking for $800,000 to further develop this AI solution and to scale it up globally. And we're also looking for partners in the travel industry and AI experts to help us to expand the global emergency travel reach. And we hope that you can join us in this life-saving mission. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Gail. Whenever disaster hit, emergency responders need to travel safely and plan their lodging. But this is complicated. I mean, we are speaking here about Afghanistan, Sudan, Ukraine. WFP is taking care of the travel and the lodging for many UN agencies and also other NGOs. And it's very interesting to see the model what they had right now. It's outdated. Now with AI, they're really achieving a different excellence level in terms of efficiency gains, but also ecological footprint. And that's the power of technology. And this was now the first batch, and I'm very happy to welcome our Q&A moderator, who is Christina Segara, and she's the Donor and Partnerships Officer of the World Food Programme. Christina, please come on stage.
Thank you so much, Regina. And it's truly inspiring to see how the teams and their solutions are supporting humanitarian assistance at scale. And I want to invite you to all of you to take your phone and scan the QR code that you found in your screen. Insert the venture name. And if you don't remember, here we have some examples: Darts, Road to Meals, Geotar, Prisma. Include your question. And don't forget to upvote it. Feel free to do as many questions as you have, and the most voted one would be the ones that our innovation teams will address. In the meantime, I want to welcome the first 5 innovation teams to the stage.
In order, huh?
Yeah. Okay.
I'm seeing the first questions coming. We're in a house of technology. Why not to use the technology for that? Okay, 1 more minute. Okay, this is a question for Prisma. and it says, what lessons were learned from the rollout in Pakistan that informed the development of a support package for large-scale implementation?
Great question. So recently, the Prisma team went to Pakistan, and it was really our testing ground for pivoting to a new manner of supporting country offices as we go into our scale-up strategy. And what we were able to do in Pakistan is work with a great team of about 7 individuals to fully train them on Prisma, but also get their feedback on the type of support materials they would need to operate more autonomously. Ideally, we'd like to go to a country office, train up on Prisma, roll it out, and get it integrated into operations, and then the country office should use it in the best way that they see fit. So we developed videos, we got feedback on user guides, on other types of materials, and we were able to put the whole package together and scale it up and prepare it for the coming scale up, which we feel super positive about. So it was a great mission, and we are really happy we had the chance to go there and work with that team.
Thank you so much. Looks like a lot of lessons learned there. I will check the next question, and it's for Road the Meals. Florian, can we use Road the Meals for other activities than school feeding programs?
Yeah, during my presentation, I mostly focused on Haiti because it was the first project of Food the Meals, but indeed, especially during the scale-up with the innovation program, we went further, and so now we try to cover all the potential in-kind activities that we can have. So it could be for school feeding, for nutrition, and also for emergency response. For example, last month we were in Chad, and in Chad we have all the activities. So we covered for the nutrition and school feeding for the routing part, and for the warehousing part, let's say, it was more to organize the response for the Sudanese crisis at the border of Chad. So yeah, now it's really all the in-kind activities.
Thank you so much. Powerful tool and very versatile. Okay, this is a one for Geotar. How can Geotar work to detect diversity distress?
To detect what?
Diversity distress, or biodiversity distress.
Diversity distress. Okay, so Geotar has as I explained in the pitch, we collect data on different dimensions of vulnerabilities. While we have a global framework that calibrated to collect data and build vulnerabilities on the climate change, agriculture production, and also access to services, we can tailor the design of this framework to fit certain context when needed. We can, for example, make it more sensitive to climate change when this is the main source of shocks and vulnerabilities. We can further tailor it in other contexts to make it more sensitive to conflict and conflict-related events. By doing so, we can achieve the highest level of accuracy in measuring vulnerabilities on a geographic scale, and obviously inform more granular targeting decisions.
Very nice, pretty flexible.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, everyone. We have plenty of questions. I will take the first in line, and this is for Camila, Darts. What were the most significant user experience improvements incorporated into Darts?
Thank you for the question. I think one of the most interesting UX improvements that we are working on right now, and that we learned with the support of Google, is that before Darts, it is still like a modular application, so you have many functionalities, and you can grab your data from different sources and use one of each different functionalities. But now we thought okay, the user may need to use several of them, in order, so we have custom flows. So whenever you start using Darts and you realize, first I have to clean, then I have to deduplicate, then I have to do this, then I have to do that, you can automatically save that. So it learns basically from your behavior, and then the next time you are going to analyze the same data, then it's done. You don't really need to tell the app what to do next. So yeah, that's something really awesome that we're trying to implement now.
Very good, super interesting. Thank you, Camila. And last, for Mission Planner, what type of travel partners are you looking for right now? Do you have an ideal partner that you would like to engage with?
Anyone, please come to us at the marketplace. But actually, when we talk about UN Booking Hub, the United Nations Booking Hub, we have got 100 countries, 100 and more countries, right? But we need to expand the end-to-end global travel. So if a humanitarian workers wanted to go from California to Ukraine, we provided the last mile at the moment because those are the emergency area where WFP operates the best. But we need to have the end-to-end travel being enabled. So we're looking for partners, airlines, commercial services, who can actually get out of California and then we can transport them, in the last mile of the emergency area zone where we operate the best. So anyone, please come to meet us at the marketplace. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and thank you, everyone. It was very insightful.
Thank you very much, Christina, for moderating this session. I mean, great question and insightful answers. We are having now a fireside chat, and you see already they are preparing the stage. And I'm welcoming Hila Coing, who is the deputy head of the WFP Innovation Accelerator. She will moderate the session with two distinguished guests.
Oh, sorry. Yes, sorry. Oh, thank you. I don't need it. Okay, thanks so much. So please let me invite the General Consul and Marsha on stage. Please join me. And we have these director chairs here, so very cozy fireside chat. So thank you so much for joining us in this chat. We have actually audience online and in the room. So it's great that we have people from around the world joining this conversation. We will have a 7-minute chat, and we'll try to do it quite quick and vibrant. But before we start, I'll quickly introduce myself, and then I'll let you introduce yourself as well. So my name is Hila Cohen. I'm the deputy head at the WFP Innovation Accelerator. And for me, this is actually a very special moment to be here on stage. The team has been involved in many exciting activities with Google over the years, whether it's Project Sky, which we work on. It's an open source disaster mapping tool that you can check online, but also this program as well. So this is a very special moment to be here on stage. So Marsha, maybe you introduce yourself, and then Oliver. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much, Hila. Hello, everybody. It's really a pleasure to be with all of you. I'm Marsha Wong. I'm a Deputy Assistant Administrator in USAID's Bureau for Humanitarian Assistance. And we're very privileged to be one of the biggest donor to WFP and to be able to support this work. In my work, I cover Asia, Latin America, Caribbean, Africa, humanitarian diplomacy and partnerships, as well as being the Bureau Lead for Climate. It's a pleasure to be with you today.
Please go ahead.
Well, good evening, everyone. My name is Oliver Schramm. I'm the German Consul General in San Francisco and covering also the Pacific Northwest. I'm 33 years now in my diplomatic career with postings in South Korea, in Lima, Peru, in Rome, Washington, D.C., London, and now here in San Francisco. And of course, I'm very grateful to WFP Innovation Accelerator, and Google for staging this and making this happen. And what I've heard so far really, as a diplomat, made my heart sing. Thank you for having me.
Thanks so much. So this actually brings me to my first question, and it'll be great just to get brief responses for each of you. Marsha, let me start with you. Why do you think it's important for private and public entities to work together to address some of the largest humanitarian challenges?
Thank you, Hila. If I may, and it's been discussed earlier about what I describe as sort of the pancaking effect of all these global stressors: climate change, displacement, food insecurity. So there's no one single actor that can work on this. And we also are very cognizant, being one of the biggest bilateral donors in the world, the numbers are, the resources are shrinking. So it's more and more important. There's a forcing function now that we have to reach into the private sector, not only for resource base, but also for the innovation, the expertise, the efficiencies that you bring to this work.
Thank you so much, Marcia. Would you like to add anything, Oliver?
Absolutely. So Germany is one of the biggest donors in humanitarian development, with $33 billion spent last year, and I think one of the biggest ones in terms of humanitarian aid, 5.3 billion spent. Nevertheless, and I can quote Gail, who just pitched, saying public money, public funds are always scarce. And if you look at the numbers and the individual developments, economic performances of countries, you know it's never enough. So I think teaming up with private companies and larger public institutions is the only way forward. Also because I think, and again speaking as a diplomat, all the issues that we find in our countries, but also outside of our borders, they're all connecting. Be it climate change, be it geostrategic conflicts, be it also developments of societies fighting hunger. I thought it was a shame when Bernhard showed the figures, how many people are still hungry, or more people are hungry now than pre-pandemic. So I think that's the only way forward.
Thanks so much. So this actually brings me to my next question. What is the role of technology in addressing these global challenges? Yeah, yes, please go ahead.
An important one. That was easy to answer. I mean, the role of technology is, we recognize, and I think everyone's very well aware in this room, that it can be both an agent for real good, and the question is just like, how are we learning and being really deliberate in bringing it in faster and sooner? I've had the privilege in my own diplomatic career, having worked with the State Department and with the International Red Cross, to see how there's such a high learning curve within all our organizations about what technology can mean, both good and bad. But the demand signals are out there. I had the pleasure to be in Honduras just a week ago. I met in Brussels 2 days ago with a group of Afghan partners. Since the US cannot go into Afghanistan, demand signals are out there for what technology can do. The question is, can we bring this community as quickly as possible to those communities on the ground? And I think WFP and Google are making incredible advancements in doing that.
Thank you so much. Oliver, anything to add?
Sure. We're sitting here in Silicon Valley, and of course, since at least since November 2022, we're talking about an AI revolution, generative AI in the mix. And I think it would be an absurdity not to look at technology when it comes to feeding the hungry and to bringing aid quicker and faster, more efficient, and most of all, scalably to the many out there in the global south and other places. And I think that's a fascinating combination that we should really push much harder than in the past.
Thank you so much. And we're doing wonderful with time, so we actually have time for 2 questions. You could pitch next time, by the way. So I wanted to ask you, and Oliver, I'll start with you on this one. What is a piece of advice that you'd give to a company, large or small, that would like to collaborate with a public entity, whether it's an NGO or a large UN agency like WFP?
Well, some of it I think we've heard just during the first 5 pitches, and I think it's to have a good look into the complexity of the issues, because it's quite different. Of course, you have your usual advice when you say, tell your story, let us know why your product makes such a difference, and why only yours is the solution to buy or to make use of. But it's, of course, public institutions work a little bit differently, because they have to spend public money responsibly, and have to be held accounted for it. So look a little bit before you pitch. Look into the special requirements, and also the different supply chains were mentioned, but also other requirements that distinguish it from a private corporation.
Marcia, over to you.
Thank you. Well put. Doing your homework about the context and knowing how you plug in or not. It's a very crowded space in some of these contexts, as you can imagine. But the one thing I would hope that you could also emphasize for a donor, but for the larger humanitarian system, is the local action. If you can speak about how you are helping those who feel it the most, the first, of climate change or conflict, how you can engage them responsibly, and bring their own voice in your own design and into your processes and implementation, that is a huge, if I may, selling point. But then help bring it up out of those local contexts into the global architecture. How is it replicable? What can you learn from it? How can you pull that learning quick and fast into other contexts? For we, it's about efficiency and replication, and so those are two things I would leave with you.
Thanks so much. These are great tips for startups and innovators, so I hope this was useful for the audience online and in the room. And again, let me also thank again both your Germany and USAID for supporting the accelerator and WFP as a whole in these very challenging times. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the moderation and the very insightful discussion. I mean, I'm fascinated to hear that both of you are fully confirmed about the potential of technology and the power, but also about, let's say, bringing different parties together. Let's say you have foundations, you have public donors, you have private sector, you have UN agencies. So really bring the strengths of different entities together and really try to get something different. Yeah, and now we're already at the second part of the picture, so it goes on. And the next one who is on stage will be Daniel McTaggart, and he's from this Venture Scout.
One septillion. There are a lot of stars in our observable universe, and that's not surprising. But what might surprise some is that the number of unique ways that we can plan WFP's global supply chain far exceeds that number of stars. With 80 countries urgently needing up to 50 different food groups, with thousands of suppliers across 130 countries, with thousands of storage facilities and seaports, and with tens of thousands of transport lanes connecting it all together, all under a veil of uncertainty. Putting it all together, what, when, and where to buy, when and where to move and store it, and when and where to deliver it. There are more answers to that question than stars. And so, despite our best manual efforts, we far too often buy food at peak market prices, move and store for too long where we don't need it, or while having desperate need for it somewhere else. So, we built Scout. Scout is our global supply chain optimization telescope. Engaging with our web application, Scout users can input that supply chain network, along with any additional assumptions they would like to test. Scout will then take that information and, utilizing our innovative mathematical model, will search through that sky of stars and find that one star or that one plan that gets the most food to the most people at the lowest cost. We piloted Scout on two distinct planning operations. The first was routine replenishment of just sorghum and beans in our West African region. Scout proposed a strategy that took advantage of favorable market prices to avoid overpaying $6 million during this year's lean season. In the second pilot, Scout was put to the test when a supplier's factory caught fire, requiring the urgent global replanning of our specialized nutritious food products. Scout streamlined this process, enabling the organization to respond in half the time and preventing disruption of these key products to 171,000 people. Our global rollout is currently underway, and we would like to thank the Google program for guiding us in scaling our technical work to the rest of the organization. Full-scale Scout will plan $1 billion of yearly food movements and will save the organization an estimated $50 million per year on cost efficiencies alone. But we need your help in getting there. We are seeking a fraction of our value at $2 million to fund our global expansion. Meanwhile, we're building an even better telescope, and in doing so, we're taking on one of the hardest problems in industrial mathematics: optimization under uncertainty. We need your help. Join our collaboration And along with academic partners, let's put our minds together to pioneer new optimization techniques to feed more people with less money. Together, let's shoot for the stars.
Thanks, Dan. Together, let's shoot for the stars. That's amazing. It's a second supply chain project. And you might ask, why we have so many supply chain projects here? But WFP in the core is really supply chain. We have planes, we have trucks, we have boats, because really we carry massive of tons of food to the people in need. The first project what we had was much more on a country level, so how do you optimize within a country? But here the question is much more on a global, regional level. Where do you strategically store food? Is it in this region, that? When is the best moment to buy certain products? And this is really a global pattern, a global map where they need to look at. And if you do it right, the potential to improve is immense. Now we're coming to a different topic, and I'm happy to welcome Lena Bock from ETC Chatbot.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. So my name is Lena, and I'm from the ETC Chatbot team, ETC being the Emergency Telecommunication Cluster. So let's go back to February 2022, when the war breaks out in Ukraine. A lot of people are fleeing from the east to the west, and when they arrive, they have a lot of questions. Where can I get food? Where can I get shelter? Where can I get education for my kids? Humanitarian responders are working very hard, but one question persists. How can we effectively deliver information about humanitarian services to those in need? That's when the ETC launches its first chatbot, an FAQ messaging system integrated within Telegram, allowing people to find answers to their questions. While the chatbot provided support to thousands of Ukrainians, we did a user review and some areas for improvement were highlighted. One was timing. For some, the chatbot came in too late, so they had already found their way around. For others, information was maybe not really tailored to their individual needs or was incomplete. And humanitarians were lacking feedback, so it was hard for them to really identify which services were most relevant. So all of this feedback really guided us in enhancing our solution and finally deciding to develop an AI-powered chatbot. You probably wonder, is AI really the solution here? And we and Google, we believe, yes, it is. And here is why. AI will help us to be able to deploy a chatbot within less than 24 hours. It also helps to consolidate information from the ground into one place, making it easily accessible. Also, it goes beyond pure information dissemination, acting kind of like a buddy in a crisis. Lastly, by facilitating two-way communication, it helps us optimizing humanitarian aid, ensuring that services are tailored to real needs. Thanks to Google, we have sat down with Greg, our technical focal point, and we have developed our business requirements. Over the past months, we have developed and tested different technologies to see which one is really matching our needs. We still have a way to go, but we believe that this solution will really change and enhance user experience and channel humanitarian aid into the right direction. But to make this vision become a reality, we need your support. First of all, in order to fully develop, roll out, and test this technology, we require $500,000 of funding. Strategic partnerships are key. We need humanitarian actors to feed in data into our data stores so that information is accurate and up to date. Lastly, AI is still an emerging technology, so we really need AI experts to share their experiences and lessons learned. So, thanks for listening, and I'm really looking forward to bridge the gap with you together between humanitarians and those we serve. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Lena. That was very insightful. In times of a crisis, and we've seen it in Ukraine, it's super important effective communication because people in need, they need to know where, when I can get food in order to survive. And what I really appreciated with the team, they were very fast and agile in setting up the version 1.0. But they also were critical to learn what worked and what did not work. And they were honest with themselves and were saying, yeah, let's go for a second version. Let's try a different level of excellence. Let's use different technology. And this is what I really appreciate, the openness of all the innovators to be critical to yourself, to try again, and then to accelerate. The next picture is Oscar Maria Cacavale, and he's presenting us the adventure Shapes.
Thank you very much. Every day, we all face risks, whether we are exposed directly to them or indirectly. Think, for example, at the subprime mortgage crisis. It triggered a domino effect, leading to stock market crash, economic recession, and job loss for many. Similarly, here in California, the recent droughts are causing water scarcity, wildfires, and art agriculture. So, when these risks materialize, sometimes we can face these shocks, but other times we can't. And in those cases, it's critical to have someone that can support you. In many countries of the world, that someone is the World Food Program. I've been talking about economic and climate risk. When these risks materialize and shocks hit, then WFP must quantify the number of affected people to design effective operations. Food security analysts like me gather the evidence on the ground, we analyze the data, and we provide insights to inform decision-making. And that's the reason why we have developed Shapes. Shapes is an analytical platform designed to evaluate the effectiveness of WFP interventions in response to shocks. It does three things. First, it integrates different data streams that otherwise wouldn't be analyzed together. I'm talking about household surveys, market prices, satellite imagery, and assistance records. Second, it uses advanced modeling techniques to quantify climate shocks, to predict household responses to price and income changes, and to project food security impacts. Third, it assesses operational trade-offs of different interventions. For example, whether it's better to provide the cash or in-kind transfers. We have expanded Shapes in 9 countries, each time trying to address a specific information need from our colleagues in the field. For example, in Yemen, we wanted to quantify the food security impact of WFP having to scale down operations because of funding constraints. In Mozambique, the recent El Niño caused droughts, and we wanted to estimate crop production reduction, food price increase, and farming household income shocks. In Uganda, we measured the indirect effects of WFP providing assistance to refugees, but also benefiting local communities around the refugee camps. Thanks to collaboration with Google, we have enhanced dramatically functionality and scalability of Shapes. And we have reduced the time to set up an analysis from 1 month to a couple of days. We are excited about our integrated data pipeline that will integrate Shapes with all the data ecosystem from WFP, and about transitioning to the Google Cloud Platform. Our goal is to cover all the countries where WFP has large-scale operations and to continue to improve our models. And for doing that, we need an investment of $1 billion and technical support from data scientists and cloud developers. With your support, we can ensure that WFP responses to shock is based on timely and sound analysis. Thank you very much, and meet you at the marketplace.
Thanks so much, Oscar. Shapes is and a marvelous example for me also for the value that Google created. Every team has received a technical success manager, and they got access of a pool of mentors with technical or business background. In the case of Shapes, they had to completely rework the data architecture. The TSM was super strict, marvelous. They had to do a lot of work. They had to do refactoring of the codes. But I mean, the results is amazing. They came from 1 month of onboarding new countries to a couple of days. So I think they went 1 step back in order to go 2 steps forward. So that's, for me, an amazing result, and I'm so glad and so appreciated about the support we have received. Yeah, and now we have ML for AA, and I'm happy to welcome Amin Bakawi on stage.
Yeah. Good evening, everyone. So my name is Amin, and I'm glad to introduce you to machine learning for anticipatory action. To do so, let's travel together to Zimbabwe's Mudzi district. Once a vibrant landscape of harvest festivals, now confronting the harsh realities of climate change. Farmers like Shupikai face uncertain seasons, threatening crops and livelihoods. Over the past 60 years, Southern Africa endured 116 severe droughts, impacting about 500 million people and costing $8.8 billion in economic losses. But what if we could anticipate climate risks and act early to prevent their devastating effects? That's where the machine learning for anticipatory reaction team comes in. Our sophisticated drought prediction system, active in Mozambique and Zimbabwe, delivers monthly alerts to local governments about regions at high risk of drought. And this triggers concrete actions like distribution of drought-tolerant seeds or cash transfers to strengthen smallholders' resilience. But seasonal forecasting is challenging. Global forecasts often miss local weather patterns and can lack the special detail needed for targeted interventions, leaving drought events affecting entire communities undetected. Which is why, as climate and data scientists, we leverage cutting-edge machine learning models to enhance forecast quality, make them more tuned to the local operational context, and ensure that every dollar invested in climate resilience reaches those most at risk. Thanks to this innovation program with Google, we tapped into the expertise of leading AI specialists in weather and climate. Also, our technical success manager supported us in implementing the Google Cloud platform that really optimizes our research and development efforts. So we've now taken our first steps towards leveraging machine learning for anticipatory reaction, and we established a roadmap for further refinements. In Zimbabwe alone, our system allowed 70,000 farmers like Shupikai to receive $5 million in anticipatory transfers last year, enabling proactive measures like the installation of boreholes for water supply. Today, we are at a turning point as we extend our portfolio to include new countries while also addressing additional climate hazards such as floods and tropical cyclones. So we now need your support to help us realize the full potential of artificial intelligence and scale our efforts. A foundational investment of $1 million will help us increase Shupikai's resilience by growing our ML4AA team, making it the channel through which frontier AI expertise gets built into the operations of the world's largest humanitarian organization. Leadership in adaptation results in both economic and human gains. Each dollar saves 10 more in human lives and property. So together, let's forge a future where Shupikai and her community are resilient against climate forces. Thank you very much.
Early warning systems are definitely a game changer in humanitarian assistance. Instead of bringing assistance after a disaster hit, you do pre-positioned financing before, based on the early warning information. And this means if you give little money to the people which might be affected, and they can save their lives, their crop, their livestock, it's much more efficient than to do it afterwards. It's really a game changer. So to do it right can be super critical. Yeah, and now we are already at pitch number 10, and you see two faces. So Hila absolutely wanted to pitch today. No, unfortunately, we had one person who couldn't make it to San Francisco, Elizabeth Borg. She's the Queen of Throne, and Hila stepped in order to do the pitch for her. Okay, the stage is yours.
Thank you so much, and good evening, everyone. It's my great pleasure to represent today the WFP drone team that's part of our technology division, and also the emergency telecommunications cluster that work on this important project. So imagine that you're a first responder in an emergency. The situation is that you are on the ground, but there's no connectivity. You cannot use your mobile phone. You don't have access to data, and you cannot send information to different actors on what are the needs on the ground. Take that reality and imagine that you're in the capital city, and in all the place in that country, there's actually only one place with hotspot. So 100 people from different UN agencies, including my colleague Pedro Mota, is in that room, each one trying to use the internet connectivity for their needs, so you can assume that it's quite choppy, and everyone's talking around you, so it's not the most calm way to manage the situation. But actually, you don't need the information from the capital. You need to send information on the severity of the situation 3 hours away. Would you drive back and forth to that operational room to get data, and so that you can communicate your needs? No, you actually need data where you are. So our team was actually inspired by Google Loon, but we needed something that was a bit more lightweight and agile. So this is why I'm happy to present R2C2. It's a lightweight mobile tower that you can package in 2 suitcases. And imagine, God forbid, there would be some kind of emergency in San Francisco, and you don't have internet connectivity in San Francisco, so you would shoot up R2C2 to the sky to create a tower for internet connectivity. Now, R2C2 has been tested, including most recently in Sweden, and you can see Elizabeth in the purple jumper. And we actually don't work on our own, and I think it's, let's say, what we're trying also to reflect here. We work with many companies from the private sector to create this lightweight mobile tower. And the team has a simple ask. They just want $500,000 to create the next generation of a lightweight drone that will create the mobile tower. And the team has been very lucky. They've actually got learnings on different topics from the Google Loon team, but they're ready to work with others. So if you're interested to learn about the drone mobile tower, please take a photo and contact Elizabeth and Patrick, who couldn't join us today. Thank you so much.
A special shout out to Hila. She had it exactly 24 hours to prepare for the pitch. So very well done. Now, I mean, in emergency situation, normally the telecommunication networks are down. So what are you going to do if you want to give life-saving help? And R2C2 with the drone and the communication tower could really, in the 4G transmitter, could really set up the connectivity for hundreds of people of a medium-sized city. So I think that's just amazing. Yeah, and this was already number 10 of our pitches. So we are going to have now the second Q&A session. So please, here in the room and also our online audience, scan the code and type your question that you have for the 5 different teams that we just have seen. And I ask Christina and the 5 innovators back on stage.
Thank you, Regina. Great. Thank you so much, everyone. And thank you for this active participation in the last round. There were so many questions, and please don't miss to include the name of your innovation, the innovation that you want to ask. Otherwise, it will be hard to really get to those questions. Okay, 1 second. Let's check what we got. Oh, look at that. The question said, what are the sources of data the model use? I will say it again. What are the sources of the data that the model uses, and what is the validation approach? Quite technical.
So the input for Scout, we've built out the solution in our corporate data management platform. So we're piggybacking a lot on the rigorous data standards of the data governance team. So we, where possible, say 80% of the inputs, we rely on this verified data sources, which are pre-verified. And if we do some manipulation, we try and make that transparent, aggregations and stuff like this. For the additional, say, 20% that's specific to the Scout solution, these are usually inputs. So it's the Scout users will input the data, so it's transparent in that way. But we definitely push for transparency of the input data because it is so important for how Scout operates.
Thank you, and definitely transparency is key and that type. Thank you so much. So the next question is for R2C2.
I'll try.
Where has this been deployed, and if you have any idea about the impact on the deployment?
So it's been tested in Sweden. It's been tested also in Mozambique. And I know also yesterday they used it in South Africa, so that's why Patrick couldn't join us today. The very interesting element about the solution is that it can be set up in 1 hour. You can travel with the suitcase, and you need 2 people to operate it. And they would like currently this is the version, but they also want to look at more futuristic versions and have a number of sets of the mobile drone tower so that they can do parallel responses. Yep.
Very nice. It's lean. Good. Again, thank you for so many questions, and I will try my best to catch the first one for chatbots. Could this work for all WFP and also for other emergency UN agencies?
Yeah, so I will start with the second question. So basically, we are trying to build this really to be able to be used by everyone, not just by WFP. That's also I included different kind of questions to see that it's really for all humanitarian responders. And as we are a cluster, we work with a lot of partners, so that are non-UN and non-UN partners. And we really want this to be a technology and a solution that can be used by a lot of humanitarian responders. Now, going to the first one, of course, this can not be deployed in every context, just considering maybe to which technology people have access. I mean, for chatbot, you need a mobile phone, best case scenario, even a smartphone. So of course you need to see if this is adaptable to the context. Also, if people have the right trust to use this kind of technology. So a whole work comes with it. But yeah, we also hope to be able to use it in preparedness and beyond. So yeah, if you have more questions later, I'm happy to go.
Yeah, we have many questions.
Yeah.
But definitely for time, we will just take this one. And it's also possible to reach directly to our innovator teams. Next question for, I will try to not repeat this. Shapes. What future expansions are planned to enhance its global impact?
Okay, so the plan is to scale up to all the operations where WFP has a footprint, and in particular where we have data. So Shapes is as good as the data is good. For running Shapes, we need household assessment, and we need market prices. I would say that the other data is not a problem. But we have seen in the past that our solution is quite flexible. So for example, The name of the project is Shock and Assistance Platform. At the beginning, we thought that assistance would be something positive. We wouldn't expect to model a scale down of assistance, for example. Now we are considering, for example, the timing of assistance, whether it's better to provide assistance earlier or later a shock, and to what extent we can tag a price cost to early action or to action after a shock. So we are going into the direction of trying to understand the return on investment and really trying to figure out what is the efficiency and effectiveness of WFP assistance when it comes to shocks. And just to say that we're talking about understanding the impact of shocks even before the shock happens. That's also what is very critical, because then we can invest in preparedness.
Great plans. Thank you. And last but not least, for ML, how does the cash get to the farmers? And is it before the drought crisis or after?
Okay, so the cash transfer is handled at the country level. So we collaborate with the country offices, of course, that collaborate with the local governments and all the stakeholders, so the Ministry of Agriculture, Water. So there is a whole group handling this at the national level. And yes, exactly. So the idea is to transfer the cash ahead of the shock. So the lead time depends on the climate shock, because we are able to forecast a drought 7 months ahead, which is not the case for floods, for example. It will be just a few days before. So once the cash is transferred, for example, for droughts here, the farmers receive the money and they are able to adapt ahead of the drought that is arriving.
Thank you so much. And thank you all the audience once again, and big applause for all our innovators.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Christina, for that excellent question round. Yeah, and we are coming already to the closing remarks. And let me invite on stage Dorota Amin. She's the Chief Philanthropy and Partnerships Officer of WFP USA.
Good evening. Thank you all so much for joining us today, both in person and online. For those who perhaps are not familiar with World Food Program USA, we are a nonprofit, a US-based nonprofit organization dedicated to supporting the mission of the United Nations World Food Program through fundraising, partnerships here in the US, advocacy, and awareness campaigns. And I'm delighted to have a few minutes to say thank you to those who have been supporting this work and made this event possible. First, to our incredible partners from Google. Thank you so much to Timothy and Leslie, speakers, to Noah and Patty from Google Accelerator, who have been passionate and collaborated with WFP Innovation Accelerator that led to this incredible accelerator. And then to Bridget, Alex, and Ricky from Google.org, who have been incredible champions of WFP across Google. So thank you. Thank you so much to Ms. Marcia Wang and Ms. Maggie Schmitz from USAID for joining us here in person, and for the critical support from USAID for WFP operations around the world. Thank you. Thank you to World Food Program USA's board members who joined online, and to Vice Chair of our board, Molly Finn, who is here in person. Thank you so much. Thank you to our colleagues from WFP Innovation Accelerator for enabling this ecosystem of innovation across WFP, for supporting innovations within and outside of WFP. And of course, appreciation and thank you to all the pitching teams for the work. Yeah, that's right. Let's give it out to them. For the work you do at WFP every day, and for your innovative spirit that inspires you to look for better ways how WFP can reach more people more effectively. Thank you so much. Thanks to your work and through your exciting presentations today, we have learned about innovations that are changing the landscape of humanitarian response. Those innovations underscore the critical role of technology in fighting global hunger and changing humanitarian response. And again, the support from Google was critical in enabling those innovations. Not only the philanthropy, but your mentorship and your expertise. You push us to think differently. You inspire us to scale our ambition and our impact. So thank you. And you have heard through each of those presentations how critical that support was. Thank you. And at the World Food Programme USA, we absolutely understand that addressing global hunger requires coordinated action and collaboration. The expertise from our partners, combined with WFP's field expertise, creates the key to addressing complex problems. The solutions are there. We just need to continue to come together to create the scale and to create the impact that are needed to make the meaningful change. We're excited for the teams to continue to scale their innovations, and they're already showing us a way where technology can perhaps pave the way to a hunger-free world. So our mission is to continue to support them, to support WFP to reach more communities, and to make sure that no one is left behind in our mission to fight hunger. But we need all of you, your continued support. So please continue to follow us, continue to engage with us, perhaps invest in one of those innovations for WFP. Thank you again. Thank you for being here, and hope you enjoy the rest of your evening with us. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much, Dorota, for these closing remarks. Yeah, there are many people behind the scenes that you don't see who made this a success, and it's really a good moment to recognize this. So, if you want to get in touch with the innovators, you can scan the QR code, particularly also for the online community. We connect you with the innovators depending on your request. So if you have anything you would like to offer to them, please go ahead. It's great to connect the dots. If you want to stay connected with us, here you see our 2 X and LinkedIn address. Please join us, follow us, like us. There's a marvelous content on how we innovate, what we learn, where we fail, what we can do differently. We really spend a lot of time in knowledge management and in sharing. Yeah, and we are pretty much at the end of this evening. I would like to first say thank you very much for being here, also for the online audience to join us this evening. I would like to ask the pitchers and the speakers on stage for a final photo, and I need to say goodbye to the online audience. But the people in the room, you're invited to the marketplace. The marketplace will be in the patio, so we will guide you there. And there is a marketplace for each of the different innovations. So you can speak to them personally, directly. They will be there. If you have any questions which is not answered, it's the moment to ask it now. And for the others, come on stage. Thanks so much for being with us.